welcome to another Mad Chats and Recaps with myself and Tasha, my lovely co-host.
Hello.
Tasha's underwater today.
It's the mermaid energy.
I love it. I love it. We are back at you with some more recaps for the week of May the 16th through the 22nd of 2022. So we will start off with Monday's The Forsaken. So as the storm around them grew in power, the crew continued to try and escape the storm that was literally chasing them across the now dangerous dim-glimped waters. Juniper continued to drive the ship north, others helping to hold the stern in place. With Ingot in a considerable amount of pain and acting strangely, Kazeel goes topside to help his friends. As the ship lurched back and forth, Juniper was almost knocked over the edge as the sentient storm cloud behind them seemed to be turning the ship in its direction. Just as the crew were ready for battle, Ingot was pulled from below deck by a magical force, but was stopped with the help of Kazeel's quick thinking and magical ability. However, as the battle began, Rhaenyra wasn't so lucky, as he was imprisoned in a cage and pulled into the storm itself, staying there for the duration of the battle. As the group slowly chipped away at it and Zavar tried to intimidate the storm back to the sea, Kazeel lowered his protection on Ingot and used his violin by playing it to confuse the storm cloud, who eventually turned and receded away from the ship. Ingot seemed a little better, but Rhaenyra is still caged. What awaits them next as they hopefully move a little bit closer to the Northern Crown? We'll find out.
I feel bad for Rhaenyra.
Yeah, well, also Joe wasn't there. This player wasn't there last week, so...
Uh-oh.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
We gotta know he's still in the cage, so...
Well...
I don't know. So, we had a new show this past week that started, the Penumbra Assembly. Well, the reboot of the Penumbra Assembly. So, what happened there, Tasha?
Let's see. So, on the very first episode of the Penumbra Assembly, after they rebooted, like Steph said, our crew recently meeting and introducing themselves in a small coffee shop. Nice. And then investigating an abandoned church after some strange things were reported from townsfolk. So they're led to the estate of Accordia Zoland, just outside the snowy town of Trindalog. There they get the specifications on what they've been hired to do: to investigate an unknown plane, which is held in a magical bell jar. They have very little information to start with, only that there are 2 rulers and information is needed on them, as well as the procuration of a strange book artifact. They are to be awarded for their trouble and are given magical ways to stay in communication with their benefactor. Traveling inside, they land in a field of sheep, where a flowery firbolg is moving his flock away from a dreadful enemy. Swarms of wasps. The party takes care of the wasps, only to find out that they belong to some insect keepers down the road. But after a lovely chat and exchange of care packages, they're on their way to what awaits them next in this interesting city known as Amikir. That's all I had to say. Yep. It seems so cute.
Yep.
And awesome.
Yep. So
I love it. I love it.
We found out some information from the Firbolg about the city. Yeah. Should be interesting. Should be interesting.
Love it.
All right. So Tower Dreams is still on hiatus for the time being. So on Saturdays in Extremis, with our crew safely out of harm's way, the dock with the pirate admiral ship, the Banshee's Well. Oh, they dock with the pirate admiral ship, the Banshee's Well. They are paid for their work, given a moment to ask any questions they may have of the admiral openly, and are given insights into what the UAF was planning thanks to some documentation found aboard the skiff. Once their talk is done, they're given an hour to sort their affairs and make any special requests of the quartermaster, who is set to task of resupplying the Tempest before they depart. Aboard this ship, the entire crew reunites with not so subtle emotions, and Breathe discovers that Carmine has only grown more in her absence. Carmine being her, a dragon. And their silvery white scales have been mostly replaced with pink ones. Together, the crew set off for Atmos Isles to lay low for a little bit, try and enjoy some downtime, and plan out their next move.
He has little pink scales.
Little pink scales. I'm trying to think of what we found out. That we found out the type of dragon that Carmine is, but I don't remember. Actually, I honestly don't remember what that is.
Scales. That's a new one, right?
Oh, a celestial dragon. So they eat gems and meat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love Carmine.
Yeah. So Brila's currently trying to make a little like space for it because it's been living in her room while it's been, baby dragon. So she's trying to make a space for it outside her room so it can have some space to itself. Plus, it's growing. Now it's like Brila's 7 feet tall. Standing up, if it's walking beside her, it's like its head is a little bit above hers.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
love it.
Mm-hmm. So exciting. So what happened? We didn't have Obsidian Scar last night, but what happened on the last Obsidian Scar, Tasha? Remind us, please.
I would be happy to. So let's see. Setting off to finally complete their mission from Commander Rory and their dragon allies, the party traversed into the uncharted waters along the west side of the Isles. On their third day at sea, a maelstrom battered the sea ward and ran it aground in a sandbank, leaving the crew to complete major repairs to the hull and masts before they could set sail again. While our heroes were getting necessary supplies from the jungle, a pack of Coalinth attacked the remaining crew on the ship. The party returned to the remains of the battle, dead barnacle people strewn across the deck. They realized quickly, however, that these were not ordinary Coalinth, and they had to quickly deal with a parasite that was inflicting many of their crew before it turned them into mindless monsters as well. The threat seemingly dealt with, the party set sail once more and made their way to the Morgatus Trench, the destination they've been searching for the last month. Over magic waterfalls and across a landing strip of an island, the heroes actually completed a stealthy recon mission and were able to gather the facts they needed for their allies. The giants have in fact unearthed a gargantuan titan of old and seem to have plans for the denizen's skeleton. Da, da, da.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. We have our information. We're going to head back and provide that information. What a very quick and succinct and, we did it well.
You did. So proud.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Super excited. All right, so that's all of our recaps for this week. We don't really have that many announcements other than, of course, I said Tower Dreams is still on hiatus for the time being. And then we have Penumbra Assembly, which started last Wednesday, so you can catch episode 1 on our VODs. I don't think it's been uploaded to YouTube yet, but we'll have episode 2 this Wednesday. So tune in for that. That's on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't think we have any birthdays this week, so I think that's all we got for you. So we'll see you in Discord. We'll see you in Twitch chat. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
studio mode. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. I don't know how to do 3, 2, 1 countdowns at all. Welcome to the second episode of the Penumbra Assembly. We're so glad to have you here. I've already done. Let's see here. We're gonna put the. I just did full screen here. We'll take that off. Oh my gosh. Put this on here. But we're so glad to have you here. Dan, are you able to put something in Discord? Oh, okay. Varath's taking care of it. Thank you, Varath.
Oh, thank you.
It's very kind. All right. Yeah. Sorry for the late start. I had everything together, and then internet kicked and everything else. So it's completely fine because we are here now. We're ready to bring you the best of the best, obviously, because look at us. Look at us. All right, so let's start off with a little summary, a little recap of what happened last episode. All right, so on our very first episode of the Penumbra Assembly, someone say something so I can make sure that your audio is on and good.
Steph's gotta poop again.
Something in the way she moved.
Oh,
Dan. Okay. I love how I love how Warren went sweet. Frank and Dan was like, Steph's pooping.
And with Dan. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
All right. So on the first
I'm
episode,
a perpetual grade schooler, you know this.
on the first episode of the Penumbra Assembly, our crew recently met and introduced themselves in a small coffee shop, and then investigate an abandoned church after some strange things were reported from the townsfolk. Mr. Hummer.
Sorry. I forget sometimes. I'll behave.
They investigated an abandoned church, and some strange things were reported from the townsfolk. They are led to the estate of Accordia Zoland, just outside the snowy town of Trindalag. There, they get the specifications on what they've been hired to do. To investigate an unknown plane which is held in a magical bell jar. They have very little information to start with. Only that there are 2 rulers, and information is needed on them, as well as the procuration of a strange book artifact. They are to be awarded for their trouble, and are given magical ways to stay in communication with their benefactor. Traveling inside, they land in a field of sheep where a flowery furbulg is moving his flock away from a dreadful enemy, swarms of wasps. The party take care of the wasps, only to find out that they belong to some insect keepers down the road. But after a lovely chat and exchange of care packages, well, the furbulg gave y'all a little bit of care packages, they're on their way to what awaits them next in this interesting city known as Amikir. And here we are. Let me see if I can get some mood music here going. Maybe.
Interesting indeed. I can't really place where I've heard that name before.
I know, right? It is strange. It is strange.
Yeah, I'm waiting for tie-ins. I mean...
All right. So the lot of you, this beautiful adventuring party, you had just left the Furbulg sheep herder. Just left his little property and started towards, I think we left you off at, you were starting towards the one of the canals where there were a couple of boats that seemed to be waiting on passengers. Now, I will say that it is about, I know that Dan asked me earlier, but it is about midday. There is a sun, and it's about midway in the sky. Works about, for this being a demi-plane, it's strange how similar the sun is, and so far from what you've seen as far as how the sky works, how everything else works, but yeah, the sun's about midway in the sky. and you're heading towards one of the canals. There are a couple boats there, as I said. One of them, however, you behind that one. So, like, as I said, the city is kind of, from what you can tell, is kind of circular. You see the city up ahead is the direction that you're walking, and it looks to be about a few, like, larger canals in. And it looks to be like that the city kind of is on a ring structure. And I think the Furball mentioned this to you as well. You have kind of the fields, it seems like, from what you've seen so far, that you have fields and pastures kind of on this outer ring. It seems the city starts kind of on a middle ring, and then you have the palace and some other buildings on the center ring there. The canals, as I said, everything kind of seems to run in a circle. You have behind the two boats that you see up ahead of you that seem to be waiting for passengers, there's a little bit of a larger boat. Seems to be more, probably what you would say is like military, maybe more official, I guess. The other two boats are kind of more just for passengers, maybe holding like 5 or 6, about six to 10 people each. And they're not small, but they're not huge, large either. The boat behind them seems a little more well-made and a little bit more official. In fact, it has a crest on it that is a little kind of pointed at the bottom with 2 points at the top. And let me just make sure I'm getting this right. So there are, it's kind of in a, what can I call that? Anyway, it's kind of like pointing down almost. It has a couple little points on it. There's a tree at the bottom on this kind of like teal background that's painted on the boat. There's a black line in the middle of that and kind of like almost like a sky blue above that. And there are a couple of, it looks to be like maybe guards on this ship. One of them is helping what looks to be like a cart full of fruits and vegetables, kind of loading things onto that larger boat. We'll see if it shows up on the stream
There we
here.
are.
Oh, there we are.
Excellent.
We're back.
Bet you didn't
Finally.
expect that.
Bet you didn't expect us to be back so soon. Here we are. Okay. Well, friends. Okay. All right. So we did our introduction already. Welcome to the second part of the Penumbra Assembly for the night. We're glad to be here. Okay. So let's just jump right into the scene then. I said y'all see the two boats in the canal up ahead. You see the larger boat behind it, so technically 3 boats, but 2 kind of like smallish to medium boats, 1 kind of medium to large boat that looks more official with the crest on it that I described. Seems to be helping a farmer kind of carry on boxes onto that larger ship. You'll see a figure each, 1 figure standing in the smaller boat, in 1 smaller boat, and 1 figure standing in the other smaller boat. There doesn't seem to be really anyone else except those in this area. You'll see people kind of taking boats in the canal and kind of going towards the city, in other pretty much smaller boats. They seem to be mostly manned by someone, and then so it seems more like a taxiing service than like some of them seem maybe self-owned, but yeah. Okay. Midday,
Okay.
y'all have at it. I think last time you were given the information about that you had killed the wasps, and I think the Furball gave you a note, correct, to give to them?
No, not
No?
that I recall anyway.
Okay.
He told us which service to use here and warned us about the tieflings.
Okay.
He listed certain.
All right.
Oh, well, we're here. I suppose we should look for the Void Zephyr. Use here to there, I believe Clefairen said. Maybe. I don't care which we use.
Well,
Perhaps it's more adventurous, Zephyr.
I think we should honor the. I mean, he did do us a favor, so
Yeah, it's true.
we should honor his request and use here to there. He could be friends of his, could be.
Oh yes, yes.
Could be the one that doesn't rip strangers off.
Yes.
That would be an important part as well.
Oh, I'll follow. Your lead.
So, which size option is the here to there? The medium, the small, the large?
The larger one looks a little bit more official. I said it has that crest on it. It's the two smaller boats that seem to be like manned by someone. And in fact, as you walk closer to them, one of the guards, this kind of very extremely pale-skinned, almost white or kind of a light gray skinned guard with this kind of dark hair and this interesting kind of buzz design in his hair, walks over to one of the boats, one of the smaller boats, which has an interesting an interesting individual standing in it with like a white mask on, and has this kind of dark blue cloak that's pretty much covering up their entire selves. There's not a piece of skin showing anywhere. They're standing there kind of in the boat, balancing themselves, like holding an oar. The guard kind of walks over to them. Hey, you, you're gonna have to help. We're gonna have to use this boat. And he'll kind of like flash, you'll see him kind of hold up something that's small and put it back in his pocket. We're gonna need this to kind of help bring things into the palace, these supplies. So we're gonna have to, and he'll hand over some gold. So it seems like the one with the mask, one of the smaller boats, is being procured by the larger boat to help with the produce.
Did none of the boats have like the name of the boat anywhere we can see written on them?
Yeah, the one with the individual with the mask that was just kind of spoken to by the guard, and who is now carrying boxes, and the guards are carrying boxes onto their boat and seemingly overloading it, has, let me see here. That one does have painted on the side of the boat here to there, and has a small little wooden sign. The other boat looks a little bit in better condition. Same size, looks like to hold about 7 to 10 people. Standing in that is, actually sitting down, is a female presenting, a little bit of tanness to her skin, dark brown hair kind of braided over her shoulder, wearing these different kind of vibrant colors, and also a black cat.
Does that one have a name?
That one has Zephyr, on a very kind of a little bit fancier sign there.
And that
Your
boat's relatively empty.
choice has been made for us.
True. I mean, it's crossing water, as long as we don't let them charge us too much. I don't hope it won't be too much of an issue.
So the here to there is packed up with groceries right now. There's no room.
Yes, the here to there currently has someone packing groceries in.
Yeah, I guess fate has decided. I suppose.
Yes. After one of you, I don't like to go first in these sorts of things.
We'll start walking towards the Zephyr.
Okay. All right. The lady sitting in it will stand. Looks, maybe in her 20s. A little bit pointy ears, so it could be elven. Stand up, and the cat will kind of stand attention as well, and kind of get settled in like a specific spot on the boat. Hey, glad to see you. I can take you wherever you need to go for a fee, of course. Welcome to Zephyr. Well, that's the boating company. That's not, of course. This is Amicare. But yeah. Where are you looking to go?
The palace, right? And I'll turn around to the rest. Is that the term for it? I suppose.
The house with the rich people that tell others what to do.
You're wanting to go to the palace. For a reason? I mean, not that I'm getting into your business, but they do have
Well, you are.
guards there. I don't recognize you from the city itself. Everyone make perception checks for me, please.
I'm sorry, did we have any sort of, I forget if we do a roll for inspiration or anything at the beginning. I did that, I don't want to forget the number.
Oh, I'm not sure that I did. I'm not sure that I had you guys roll for inspiration last week either. If everyone wants to take a moment, I'll get your perception rolls first, and then I'll have you roll for inspiration.
Sorry.
2.
Okay.
Right.
Drexel rolled a 2.
All right. Dakos, what did you roll?
16.
Okay. And Love?
Oh, perception.
Yes.
12.
Okay. Yvonne?
Ivani is like staring at the lading of vegetables with great interest, but rolls an 18.
Wow. And Zenith?
13.
All right. I would say anyone with probably a 13 or above would notice that the two guards who are kind of coordinating the vegetables in the other small ship and the larger ship definitely seem to have their eye on you as the group. You do know that not just everyone gets sent to the palace, right?
No.
Well, that's interesting. What kind of a society wouldn't give access to the rulers to the general population? I think one of the philosophers 3 centuries. No, I'm sorry. You got to care. Never mind. Sorry.
If you're really wanting to go to the palace, I would suggest speaking to one of the guards there. They would be able to give you some kind of emblem to show that you have permission to go in, if that's what you're wanting to do. But they'll probably ask you questions. She'll kind of step a little bit closer. They don't just. And they're going to know that you're not from around here, so they're going to want to know, because we don't get really any visitors here. So.
We could
Other
always.
gods.
So we could always help load groceries, I suppose.
Yes. It could be more exciting than it seems, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah. Did you want me to call them over for you, or are you going to go and talk to them yourself? You hear a cat kind of goes, meow.
Meow.
Oh, that's Trixie.
Yvani will turn and bow at Trixie. Greetings.
Trixie kind of bows back.
That is curious. Dexlin, you seem. I get the sense that you would just mesh rather well with these authority figures here. Would you do us all a kindness and perhaps do the negotiation, conversing?
Certainly. I'll walk up to a guard. I guess we haven't even boarded the boat yet. We're all standing on,
Correct.
I guess, dockside.
Yeah. The female you were just talking to, the rest of you just kind of like looks at you all awkwardly. Drexlin, there are a couple of different guards. one of them that seems to be the one kind of standing around, just kind of watching. The other one's kind of more physically helping. Is the one with the very light skin and kind of a scar or tattoo that kind of goes down his face and has the interesting shaving on his side of his head. Has that same crest on it as the boat does on his chest piece. The armor isn't. He's not wearing like full plate armor. It's more or less a mixture of metal and leather. Kind of turn to you, this beautiful like cape, which they both have, and they both look similar. Can I help you?
Pardon for the intrusion. We have been sent here looking for some information, some artifacts for a historical society. And we were told that the residents at the palace may have information that would be helpful to our cause. So we're looking at gaining an audience with those that are in charge at the palace. And to that end, I guess I'm inquiring with you, how does one go about that?
Well, I can tell that you're not from this plane, correct? Unless you've been hiding under a rock for the past 10 years.
No. Well, obviously not, no.
Gotcha. Yeah, I pretty much know most faces here, except for the newer ones, meaning children. Not that I need to explain that. So I probably need to ask you some questions first before we take you deeper into the city. Why don't you, is that your group over there by the boat?
Yes.
Okay. If I could speak to you over here to the side, all of you, if you wouldn't mind getting your friends. Not taking you in or anything yet, but I do just want to know what you're doing here.
Most reasonable.
I will be standing over there. Just bring them over when you're ready. Not one by one, just as a group. It's fine.
Okay.
And you'll see him kind of like quickly kind of side step over to the other guard and say something, and the other guard kind of looks kind of like at you very keenly, Drexlin, and at the group very keenly before kind of, pulling himself back into the task at hand. And the other guard will go off to the side and wait.
All right, I'll go back to the group. Needless to say, a few things. We stick out like sore thumbs. And just a brief, I think the guard just wants a brief interview process, which is, I think, totally understandable, seeing an audience with the leaders of a demiplane. I would imagine. So just, if we could all just gather up, they'll come and ask us a few basic questions, I'm sure, and hopefully we'll be able to move on to the palace.
All right.
Yvonne will kneel down in front of Trixie and ask Trixie a question in Druidic. But I won't share it publicly because I don't think anybody else will understand it.
Okay. I will allow it.
Apparently, I type terribly when I'm under time pressures. And Yava will stay there for a long moment with confidence that Trixie will actually answer, and Trixie might not.
No, Trixie kind of tilts their head at you and doesn't say anything back.
Fine. Keep your secrets.
Right.
All right, I'll wave the guard
Yes.
over. As I assume we are standing in a huddle, sort of.
Freak.
Okay. Guard will kind of step over and. Hello. Nice to meet you. My name is Golad. And who do I have the pleasure of meeting here?
I am Drexlin.
Jefferson.
Lev, pleasure to meet you.
Zenith.
Good to meet you, Zena.
Dacos. Pleasure.
Dagos, yes. And you. Looks at you, Yavani.
Giovanni's standing with the group, but still trying to make eye contact with Trixie, and eventually suddenly seems to snap to awareness that there's something going on right next to him. And says, "Oh, hello, I'm Giovanni Marigold Dancer. Have you met my mother, Megra?"
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Sorry.
Disappointing, but thank you for the news. Thank you.
So,
Will there be anything else?
yes, there will be plenty else. You're in no danger from me.
Is that weapon sharp?
Yes, it is. So the group of you are wanting to go to the palace. May I ask? Well, first, I was telling your friend here that it's obvious that you're not from this plane. What business brings you here?
Did he not already tell you? I could have sworn.
I would
my
like
friend
to
already
hear
said.
from the group.
So yeah, Drexlin will defer to the group. So since
A great many things, I imagine. To learn, to expand our small little bubbles of understanding and culture. There's so much to be done here. We thought we were free to travel. I'm a little surprised that some.
Are you expecting an imminent attack upon the city?
No,
Really?
no, we're not.
Has
Are
the city been
you-
attacked recently?
Are you are you saying that there is an attack coming?
Goodness, I hope not. Seems like quite a lovely place.
Yes, and we
It
like to
looks
keep
like-
it that way.
It looks like there might be a party coming. I kind of gesture at all the produce and everything that's being sent over.
Oh, no, they come to get the produce certain days of the week, and so they kind of stock it up, put it on boats, take it into the city and into the palace. Doesn't all go to the palace. It goes to mostly it goes to the city itself and to restaurants, homes, markets.
I just thought your ruler just really liked cabbages. That makes a lot more sense.
It would take her 5 years to eat that much food. So, how did you find out about Amicare? I'm curious. You said you were explorers, you wanted to be here, but we don't really have an open gate into the real world, or that's what I've been told. I mean, into the material plane, that's what I've been told.
Well, as adventurers, we had to seek that information out. Rather hard to come by, but we came across a means to transport ourselves here through some magic.
Interesting. Magic from who? Who sanctioned
Whoever wrote
the magic?
these- I'll look around at everyone like,
I-
I've got to lie. Jump in if you want.
Oh.
The
One could
Historical
speculate
Society.
nobody you've ever met. I'm confused.
I'm
Are you
sorry.
looking for introduction? We could potentially take you back with us, introduce you to this person you've never met.
No, I need to know who it was.
Well, and I'll look to the group. I don't think they had a problem with us using their name.
Not at all.
They were named Accordion.
Accordion.
Insight check that if there's a reaction to the name.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Ooh, nice.
19.
Yeah, no reaction. He looks confused. Accordion.
Does he? Okay, with a 19, I'm just gonna ask, like, does he look like he was expecting a different name, or just doesn't recognize the name?
The 19, I would say that it's a certain type of confusion that's not that if he wasn't expecting a name, he wouldn't look confused because he wouldn't be expecting a certain answer. But obviously he was expecting some kind of answer and he's confused that it wasn't that. Interesting. I don't know of an Accordia. Well, this raises questions, but I mean, you have to realize we haven't had visitors in quite some time, so you being here is something interesting.
Perhaps cause for a party?
Oh, please say yes.
I guess that would be up to Her Majesty. Not up to
Well,
me.
now we have a reason to meet her, don't we?
So you're exploring. Why not just the city? Why do you need to meet the ruler?
Why wouldn't we? Please, you bounty him too, Zoe. And why wouldn't we? Do you eat? I can't think of foods in medieval times that would make sense. Eat a whole meal, yes. You don't pick. Well, maybe you do. But when traveling, you must understand from top to bottom, inside and out. To go to a city and only visit one class of people or one section of a city and say you've explored it and experienced it. Ridiculous.
Are you a ruler? You're wearing a crown. That's usually a sign of some kind of rulership, correct?
Sometimes I'm in charge. But I wouldn't say a ruler, no.
Okay. I kind of like step back if you like were stepping close, like if you took a step closer when you
Well,
said
you
that,
lean
like
forward a
leaning
little bit,
in
yeah.
a bit. He'll kind of like step back. Okay. Again, this is strange, but let's do
You're welcome.
this. Let's give it a day, shall we? Spend some time in the town, stay at an inn, give it a day, and tomorrow you can stop by and I'll let them know to keep an eye out for you. It won't be difficult. They won't need to see you first because I'll just let them know that it's people that they'll have never seen before in this plane. So, and I'll give them, and you kind of like glance over the group. I'll give them descriptions that they won't be able to mess up. So, does that sound like a plan? Midday tomorrow, you can go to the palace, get a boat there, and you should be able to get in and meet. However, I will say that I will be talking to the queen before then. So if she does not wish to see you, then they'll let you know and access will be shut off.
That's
Naturally.
certainly fair and reasonable, considering
As the
unannounced.
guard, go ahead.
Considering that we were unannounced and don't have letters of invitation or anything like that, so completely understandable.
Is
By
your
the time the guard finished asking this question, by the way, Yava is back making eye contact with Trixie. Yava
Okay.
has dropped this conversation from there.
The female there in the boat just kind of like doesn't try to talk to you, Yvonne, but will just kind of like pretend that she's busy and just kind of like keep glancing over at you and then glancing at Trixie.
Flirtatiously?
No, just like kind of trying to figure out what's happening exactly.
Oh, Yvonne's used to that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Steph, I want to. This is wild. I want to try to memorize what this guard looks like.
Okay.
Galad is, or I don't remember how you pronounced it.
The guard's name is
Galad.
Galad.
Okay.
Which I'll type it out in the chat here. Well, not
Thank you.
directly to Yava. There you go.
Okay,
You.
Glad.
Okay.
I would like to memorize what Galad looks like if I can,
Okay.
and just kind of commit that to memory. I don't know if that's going to need a roll or.
Yeah, let me, I'll probably have you roll something here. Give me just 2 seconds to re-pull up the campaign. Let's see here.
Would have been a good time to have keen mind, but it's fine.
I was gonna pull up Yo just in case. Yeah, let's go with I'll give you a choice here.
Okay.
I'm going to give you can either roll for perception specifically, but that roll, I will say that the DC for that might be a little bit higher than if you roll intelligence.
I'm gonna go for perception just because I
Okay.
don't have an additional bonus
Okay.
to intelligence.
Understandable.
Okay, that's a 16, so it's
Okay. All right.
probably not great.
You are looking at Gulad very carefully, Zenith, and you feel like that before he turns and starts to like help the other guard, that you've gotten maybe about 70%, 75% of what he looks like.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just kind of filing that away for later.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And he'll kind of, before he leaves, will kind of like, while Zenith is staring at him very intently.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of glance at Zenith and be, and well, maybe I'll see you. I don't usually work the gate, but if I see you, I see you. If I don't, I don't. If I don't see you, enjoy Amakir. Question. He starts to turn around. He turns back. Question. How are you getting back to where you come from? You come from the material plane? Did you say? I don't remember.
Yes, for the material plane. We were given a key that seems to be magical and got us here in the first place.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds good. I would. Yeah. Okay. Again, pleasure meeting you. Maybe I'll see you again. And I'll kind of turn and start helping with the other boat.
Oh, finally, the questions are done.
I guess. Yeah, Drexel will head for the boat, I suppose.
She's kind of like leaning back. Oh, are you ready?
Yes, passage for 6.
Okay. Sure. Well, wait a minute. Where are you still going to the palace, or?
To the city, I guess proper. We're going to we have to get clearance to. Obviously, that's understandable. To see the rulers, so we need to hang out for a day until we get the okay.
Okay.
So
Sounds good. Do you have a place you want to go? This is a pretty big city if you haven't been here, which you haven't. Are you wanting to find an inn? Are you wanting to do some shopping? Are you wanting to...
Is there a welcome center?
No, we don't have one of those because we don't have any
buttons?
visitors at Crowned
Oh.
One. No. No welcome center that I know of. I mean, I'm sure if you ask word to the wise, I'm sure you'll get questions by people. They don't know who you are. You're an interesting-looking group, I think. So maybe any question. I mean, I'm sure you could try to ask what questions you want to whomever, and some people might give you, the cold shoulder. Strangers, who are these people? Some people might answer you, but anyways, where are you wanting to go?
An inn? Probably, right?
Okay. Are you wanting to spend a lot of money, or you want to spend a medium amount of money, or you wanting to spend the least money possible?
A lot.
On an inn, I think, Dakos, this is what they're asking.
Yes.
A lot still.
Okay.
Oh. Got fancy tastes. The closest inn then would be in a theater district, the Swan.
What's the cheapest look like?
Oh, the cheapest? Well, the closest cheapest would be the Gargoyle. That's over in the military grounds.
That's, well, you had me and then lost me.
Well, but you also have the Trader and the Chief. That's in the Southern Market District.
It's the liveliest one.
The liveliest?
Yes.
Well, let me see. Where are we in the week? About midweek. Theater District probably isn't too exciting, but they might have a show today. But it's really dependent on what's happening there. Market's usually the most liveliest, I would say.
Markets? Everybody?
Suppose, but
Sounds
just
fine to me.
yeah, a quick question.
Sure.
These districts,
Trixie,
how?
stop that. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh, pardon.
Yeah. How flexible.
Trixie, pay her no attention.
I'm sorry.
How far is each district from each other? Minutes walk, hours walk.
Oh, there's only a few districts. It's not, the city itself isn't really broken up into, I mean, it's broken up because of the canals, but, you just have the theater district, there's a military district, and then there's a noble district.
Is there a library?
And then there's the market district as well, so that's 4. We do have a royal library. Yes. And there are smaller ones in, with the more, where more people live. There's smaller libraries, but the Royal Library is the biggest and is curated by the Queen herself is their slogan.
I'm sorry, Captain... I don't recall your name. Captain...
Trixie.
All right, and first mate...
Could you just call me Captain? I mean, I appreciate it. That's really kind, and I do. I've just never. It's cute. Thank you. No, I probably wouldn't call myself a captain if I were me. But you may call me. Sorry, switching between notes. You can call me. No, Stephanie.
Tonight. No, just
You
kidding.
can you can
We can call her
me
Stephanie. Good to know.
any time you want to. They say, Okay, give me 1 second. I know that I had a thing. Oh yeah, you can call me Latora.
Latora. Lovely. I didn't catch the districts. It happened so quickly, and Trixie was doing that, and my attention was split.
Oh yeah,
And the noble district, I called.
she has no shame. Well, yeah, so there's a noble district. There is a military district, the theater district, and the market area district. Sure.
Understood. Market district. Thank you kindly, boat, ship, steerer, Latora.
She'll give kind of like a weird bow. You're welcome. So, did we decide on the inn?
Market district, right?
Yes.
Sounds like
Okay.
a plan.
All
Easy
right.
access to shopping.
So that is the trader and the chief. I'll take you there. That's in the southern market district. There's also a little bit in the northern, like north of that as well. If you're unaware, there are side streets and alleys, but you will have to take a boat if you want to go to a different area. Yeah. It's either walking, boating, or training. We have a train. It goes. It's on the inner circle. You can kind of. Well, I don't know where it's at right now, but if it passes. Oh, here we are. And if you kind of look past the canal where the boat's located here and kind of into the inner rings of the city, you can see in the distance, it looks like it's maybe about kind of more towards one of the inner circles, like in between the two circles, the two rings, I guess. Yeah, so probably like a couple miles away, maybe a mile away. You can see kind of the train kind of start turning around and kind of go in that circle and disappear. Yeah, there are a couple points where it actually goes underwater. Well, there's a tunnel that goes underwater, and it sounds more magical than it is, but you know, what can you do?
Understood.
All right, are we ready to go to the trader and the chief?
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
On the tour. From where comes all the water? Is there? Do I see like mountains or anything like?
Well, you did have that kind of mountain range, the foresty area to the right, kind of. That was kind of on, you know. You know, I don't know. That's maybe the queen does. You know, you can ask Miss Amicare.
Lovely. That'll be all, Latora. Thank you.
But
Have
you
you ever
still
been
want
to the palace, Latora?
you still want me to boat you to the place, right?
Yes, are we not going yet?
Oh
Still
no,
there.
we. I was getting your questions out of the way since I kind of have to concentrate, but I'm sorry, Rabbit, you asked something.
Oh yeah, the name's Love. I was just asking if you had been to the palace yourself.
I have been at the palace. I have stood outside the palace. I have not been inside the palace. Yes, Lady Amicare and Sartapash used to kind of hold kind of like meetings, town halls of sorts outside. They don't really do that anymore, what with the but so no, I've been outside but not inside. Just like it sounds like a bad date, huh?
What is the foop?
Oh,
Yes.
you
yes,
probably
that.
don't know. Well, I think Miss Amikir and Mr. Tapash, they had a slight agreement on a, well, an agreement on a disagreement. And I think Sir Tapash went up into his own city. They had mages create a demi-plane inside of a demi-plane. So it's here somewhere and
Man
existent.
cave. But I'm getting a better impression of this.
Well,
Pesh.
sure. It's more like holding a mirror up to the city and creating a second copy from that reflection.
Does no one here watched horror movies? Horror plays.
We have
That's how you have a horror play.
we have this city, and they have their own city. And we were given a choice to either stay here or go to the other one. Miss Amikir was not happy with the ones that decided to go to the other city, of course. I think she saw it a bit as a stab to her pride. But
Do you
And
know
they-
anyone that went?
oh, yeah, I had a cousin. I knew a few people. You know, had some friends. That was about a couple of years ago now.
Have you heard back from them?
Oh, no. Well, I was about to say that there's really no contact in them or seeing them, since it's meant to kind of exist in its own space. But, well, there's been some incidents lately in the past few weeks, I think. It seems that whatever they did to separate and to make another demiplane is having some issues. So,
Dangerous issues like collapsing or
well, and just as she starts to talk, you kind of hear this. It's an interesting sound. It sounds like kind of high pitched, and also a bit of a rumble to the ground, almost like a minor earthquake. And as you're looking around trying to figure out what's happening, you see above the city and kind of reaching out almost to where you are, is like the same city upside down, but it's almost like an illusion or a mirage. Like those familiar with magic, it seems like an image of sorts that you can kind of see through a bit. But that kind of that see-throughness of it kind of goes in and out, and so it seems a little more real sometimes and a little more solid. And you'll see pieces kind of fall. These pieces hit different areas. And you'll also hear a bit of crashing and see that it seems to not be hovering quite high enough to where now that it's there, some of the taller buildings in that city seem to be kind of crashing, kind of crunching into buildings in this city. And it kind of flickers in and out. You'll immediately see a piece kind of at the very edge kind of fall from the sky, about probably like, I'm so good with distances. This is great. Maybe about 400 feet above or 300. A piece, a large stone, fall. And where you are at the canal, you're kind of on the side of where the pastures are. You know, the flocks and the greenery. Right across this canal, which is probably about 30 feet from one side to the other. On the other side, that's when the city starts. It's probably not 30 feet. It's probably like more like 40 or 50, actually. That's where the city starts, and you start seeing pieces of buildings. The part that you can see on the other side of the canal does seem like kind of a more grungy part of a city, kind of like the more poor district. And you see when these stone pieces fall and just hit the hit the corner of that part of the city, like the corner as in where the city goes, and the canal is right there. As it does that and it's about ready to hit, you'll see one person kind of see that it's coming. You'll see a few people have gotten out of the way, but this person runs and jumps into the canal, and the piece hits and of course completely crushes the sidewalk, the walkway, a piece of the building that was there, which looks like maybe it was some kind of housing. And you saw the one person kind of jump. The one person you saw in peril was the one that jumped into the canal. It kind of flickers a bit, the city does above, and then it just kind of flickers out, and it's gone. And she'll kind of be like looking up and like, oh shit. Well, that was it. And you'll hear the person on the other side of the canal yelling for help.
Can we, yeah.
Yeah,
can we take the boat over there and help them?
let's go. Jump in.
Okay, I'll Drexel will jump in.
You'll see a few other boats kind of coming into the canal, but they're starting to kind of turn back once they see like there's some destruction there. So you all kind of pow into the boat. There's just enough room for you. The cat will get up into a corner. Probably, you know what? Probably, since Yavani's been talking to it, we'll probably get close to you, Yavani, and just kind of like sit in the seat beside you as like it's another, patron of the boat.
As one would expect, yes.
Absolutely. So you, I'll get into the boat, and she'll kind of, look both ways, of course, before navigating across the water. Get over there, and you can still hear this individual yelling for help. There are some people kind of on the sidewalk, there at the buildings across the canal, kind of looking and like talking amongst themselves, but it's a little difficult for them to get to that side and to get to them.
I'm on my broom. I'm going to head over there as soon as we get closer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Side saddle.
Yeah, so Dakos, you jump onto your broom. What's the flying speed on that?
Is
it 30?
I
think it's 30.
It's flying speed. It's actually 50 feet.
Oh, you're right.
It's 30 if it's more than 400 pounds I'm carrying.
You're right. Okay.
Or more than 200, rather.
Okay. Yeah, so you jump on you're definitely able to get over there before the boat, Dakos. So you see, the rest of you see Dakos. Those of you probably, I think, Lev, you had adventured with him before, correct? Wasn't that the kind of like story or, yeah. So you've probably seen this before, Lev.
I hope so.
The rest of them, the rest of you guys, you see Dakos kind of pull out this broom and just be like, phew. Oh, you pulled it out the last time too, like during session 0? You've all seen it. I'm sorry. So you get on your broom, you get across the canal. What do you whisper the command word, Dakos, or?
So I'm gonna send you a quick reminder message in Zoom.
Okay.
And that'll be an answer to that.
Okay. You've already told me this. Okay.
I put it in Zoom. Sorry.
Oh. Give me a second. I'm going to review this stuff.
Oh.
Because I don't remember
Yes,
that
please.
at all. I don't remember that at all. Is that in your backstory?
It is, yeah. And we had a few combos about it. I can tell you reminders that might jog your memory, but I don't want to share it.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm sure I knew it the last time. I just completely forgot about for this time.
Mm-mm.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, so you get to the other side. You see this individual in the water, kind of skin very similar to skin tones similar to Zenith's, but seems to have kind of these kind of gold tattoos on their face and this blue hair. So a little difficult to see like in the water because it's
sure.
very similar like hues.
Yeah.
But you can see the splashing.
I'm
Ho.
not even looking. Like,
Ho.
arm out.
Make a strength
I've got
check,
you.
Dakos.
Okay. I'm using
Or
like,
athletics. You can make athletics.
Thank you. Dagos is using his killer thighs to like grip the broom
Sure.
and hang down.
Sure.
Just because his mini has like all that cake and I couldn't believe it, so I've got him super built with the, with the legs. Oh, that's negative 16.
Okay. Yeah, you are
Take
able
my
to
hand,
with
it's
his
alright.
with their strength and your strength combined, you are Captain Planet. You're able to pull him onto the broom.
Okay, let's take pollution down to 0.
Now,
Put
how
him
much
back
do you
in
weigh, Dakos?
Jeez, probably Dacos. He's got all that cake though. I'm gonna say around 200 pounds.
Okay, all right. So I would say that you're definitely at your more slower flying speed with the two of you on there, because he's, and you'll see like pulling him up onto the broom, like he's definitely built. He definitely has some muscle to him, but he's not like super buff. You can see this kind of interesting like gold tattoos kind of like on his arms as well and circling around. And he's wearing this kind of like dark fabric.
Hold tight, hold tight. Here we go. Back to
Thank
the
you.
ship.
Okay,
Of
and
course.
you get back to the ship, and the ship is actively moving towards. So are you? So it's out, kind of in the middle of the canal at this point. By the time that you get to it, are you going to kind of land in the ship or land?
I'm gonna loop around back so that I can match speed going forward and land carefully.
Okay, all right, but still landing in the
past it.
ship, correct?
On the ship, yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Here we are.
Make a dexterity check with advantage, just because you have
Is that acrobatics at all?
you can. It's trying to land the because she was moving. I'll say that that's why I do it with advantage, because she's trying to slow down for you, but
Oh, that's so
you'll
sweet.
you'll still have a little bit of aiming to do.
All right, 14 plus 3, 17.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, you're able to land into the boat and kind of get him. Oh.
There you are. Rest. Are you in one piece?
Thank
Two
you.
months older.
I appreciate the help. And I'll say that you also would have noticed, Dakos pulling him out, that his skin is a little kind of furry.
Okay.
But he has kind of pointy, kind of elf-like ears.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you see that? Did you see the thing from the sky hit? And I was going to check on something, and I just happened to look up. I heard the noise, and it was like the other time that it happened. And
Scary.
and the boat, she's like, just calm down, just breathe. It's fine. You're okay. You're safe.
Yeah, so one of these
Thank you.
people can help you now. And I'll walk over to the side of the ship. Like I'm gonna look at like Yo and the people that look, Giovanni, Drexel, and people I think might be able to heal.
I would say like you'd be able to see like there are some little like scratches on him just from the shrapnel of the rocks and stuff and jumping into the water.
Giovanni will cast Goodberry and will offer a couple of good berries to the person who's come out of the water.
Oh, I've seen this before. Thank you. And he'll eat some berries.
Giovanni will also offer a good berry to Trixie.
She's gonna be like, what? Oh wait, I don't. But Trixie will take the berry.
Of course she will.
And kind of like nudge you. and she's just like, okay, all right. But the rescuee, are you eating an apple over there, Takos? Like,
I just went off to the side and said one of them can heal you. I'm just eating the apple. Just working my space.
the rescuee were just gonna be there, just kind of catching their breath. Thank you. I appreciate the help so much.
Does this happen often? The crashing from the sky thing? You said last time.
Oh. Yeah, well, and him and the girl will kind of start talking at the same time, but, this kind of purple-skinned elf will be like, happened a couple of times the past, probably kind of looks to the other 3 to 4 weeks, probably. So this is the third time that it's happened. Well,
What?
I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
what clan do you come from? I've not seen any of us with markings like that before.
Oh, my mother had these. I'm not really sure. They don't really talk that much about, before we moved here. But, I guess you can tell. I'm half elf, half furbolg. So, that's the furry skin. But it does make swimming difficult. So that's a shame.
Makes sense.
What do I owe you for the help? I appreciate it. It's not often that, people are kind here and nice, but not too keen on going out of their way. So
Just kind of look around at the group and say, maybe a tour guide?
You could certainly use one.
Can see what I can do, sure. My name is Ume.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
It's Ume. I'll put it in chat here.
Ume. I put Izume. But you're saying
Yeah.
who is Ume.
Mm-mm.
Cool. I'm good at this.
We're all in the same boat.
Literally, we're in a boat.
Nice, yeah.
I'm Zenith. It's Clan Illica, if that means anything to you, but
it's been... I was young whenever we moved, so I'm sorry. It may mean something to my parents, but unfortunately it's kind of a little young to kind of take in a lot of things of the material plane. But the group of you're... Do you live here?
No, we're just traveling, passing through, exploring.
Wait, so you came here to travel?
Drexlin is really the one that paid attention to everything that was going on.
He kind of looks to you, Drexlin. So, you're from the material plane? True?
Yes. Yes, I am Drexlin, and yes, we came from the material plane.
Interesting. Do you know Credencia?
All right, yeah, I'm sure Drexlin would know of Credenza. Yes, we know of Credenza, yes.
I think that's where we were from. I think so.
Oh.
Originally, before we, came here.
How did you... Well, it was a long time ago. Perhaps you don't know. Your parents would know, probably. Come about having the opportunity to come here.
Yeah, I can't answer. Not that I can't answer it. I just don't. I don't remember. I was almost 10 years ago. I was 7. So.
Oh, totally understandable.
I wasn't really. It was just said that we were moving. They had. There's a lot of people, of course. Everyone that's here came pretty much at the same time, and they were like, "We're going to a new place. It's an adventure, and here we are."
But you didn't take a boat, right? What did you use to get here from the Prime?
Oh, it was magic.
Like a big magical circle you all stood on, or a magical kite?
It was
what
more
was
like...
it attached to?
No, it wasn't a kite. It was just... They were a bunch of mages who helped us to move.
Excellent. By casting magic on a circle or directly on you?
Oh yeah, no, on a circle, but it wasn't a big circle. It was like lines. We stood in lines and to get to the circle. So,
understood.
Yeah.
You know what I want to know? Can I throw this apple in the river? Is there a garbage here? Can I just throw
no.
it?
And they're both like, no. I just and the boatwoman will get like a little bag that she, like out of she'll open up like a little cupboard on the bottom of the boat and get a little bag out. Here,
Perfect.
they put it in there.
Thank you.
We try to keep the waters unpolluted.
Figured it would
There's
break down.
not that much, movement. So there's nothing to really take it anywhere, like on the material plane.
Thank you.
Okay. She'll kind of get back to Rowan. You were wanting to go to the South Market District Inn, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be a gold for all of you. And that's cut to my prices since you were kind to our fellow city folk here. But I'll get you there in about, probably about 15, 20 minutes. Takes a bit of time, got to wait for other boats. Busy time of day. You can see the sun is, set. Not set, but, it's been about an hour.
Uma, you don't mind coming along with us, do you?
Well, I might, when we get to the inn, I might take a boat over to, my folks and just let them know what's happening. Are you wanting me to come back to the inn and stay with you? It's a little weird. Just meet you. Are you going somewhere tomorrow or this evening, or that I can meet you there, or are you wanting to walk about. I just need some clarification on what you're wanting from me, and if this involves, well, I guess you saved my life, so that was the whole point, but what am I to expect of this?
What do y'all think? Maybe we can just have Lume meet us tomorrow?
Perhaps for breakfast?
Yeah.
Where y'all going tomorrow? Just wandering the city?
Only the sunrise can answer that. A new day. We'll have a conversation.
Have you been to the theater district? You'd probably like it there.
We will appreciate any help that you're able to offer us. And maybe we're just new. We would just like someone to show us, perhaps
Sure.
around a little bit,
Sure.
if it's not too much trouble.
I can show you around. I can talk to you. I mean, you seem like decent people so far. And he kind of like side glances at the boat woman, who kind of like, gives a shrug and a nod, like, yeah, I guess. So why not?
Is that not okay? I think we kind of thought that maybe we had done something nice for you, and that
No,
we were asking for something that wasn't too onerous in
No,
return.
you're not. You're not asking for anything onerous. I'm just trying to process, I guess. Again, you have to realize, I'm sure that they've already talked to you, that, I just don't know who you are. And this is, just asking a lot of time. But I'm okay with it. It's okay. I'm not saying I don't want to do it. I'm just, it just...
We don't want to seem ungrateful, and we don't want to seem like we're demanding too much from you. And I apologize, I sometimes don't read people very well, so maybe I'm misunderstanding. But there is no obligation here. If you have something else to do tomorrow, we'll find our own way.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I can, take the day off. It'll work out. All right. Just let it be known that I won't do anything against the law. Right?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
Hey.
Because as soon as that starts, I'll leave you to whatever you want to do, but I'll be seeing myself out, as the young kids say.
Completely
Okay.
agree.
All right. That sounds good. Yeah, I'll see you. Well, I'm with you in the boat until we get there. I can actually drop you off. You live over there, right? And she kind of points over. But now she's kind of already taken a left-hand turn and started down this kind of wider canal. You can see kind of like to your left the distraction from that piece falling from the sky. And you can already see kind of a guard assessing it. You seem to be kind of passing through the first kind of out, like, we had the outer ring with like the greenery. This is kind of the second ring in, which seems to be more kind of residential, if not a little bit impoverished in some points. But definitely this is where people live here, or at least some of the people, a good portion of the people in this city. And then up ahead, you can start seeing the buildings get like because this canal is one of the canals that leads straight to the estate. So it's at the very end of this canal, quite a couple hundred feet in, a few hundred feet, and you can see these kind of like tall spires, and you get kind of the first good look at it that you've gotten your entire time here. Very tall. It has these kind of tall spires that kind of reach up to the sky. Seems to be pretty good size. and seems to have some like gates and some smaller buildings kind of around, and that seems to be kind of the what makes up that kind of middle mass of this circle. You can also see that it seems to be that there are some like guards way up ahead in the canal that seem to be kind of sorting out some other pieces falling from the sky. And the boatwoman will kind of be like, you live right over there, right? Oh, yeah. Do you mind if I go ahead and get off here and then I'll join you tomorrow?
Certainly. We'll be staying at the Trader in Chief.
Okay. I'll meet you there. Say morning, 8, 9?
That's a plan.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. Enjoy your stay. Enjoy your food. If everything goes well tomorrow, maybe I'll take you by to meet the parents. That sounds weird, but they might be interested in talking with you. Maybe you'd be interested in talking with them. Anyways, yeah, you can drop me off over there. That's fine. And so Pomo will kind of like look back at everyone kind of awkwardly and kind of push the boat over to the side. It seems like the sides of the canals are kind of consistent docks. So you can kind of pull up pretty much anywhere and let people off. So he gets off and he'll kind of give an awkward wave and start, kind of disappearing in between some buildings. What did you say, Dakos?
I just turned to everyone. He moves so fast. Parents? My goodness.
Dakos will give him. Drexel will give Dakos like a. What? What are you talking
The Trixie will meow. Meow.
Trixie gets it.
And is still kind of sitting there in the sea, kind of just looking around.
Yava's looking like he's trying to insight Trixie.
Well, I tell you what.
Close to comprehension.
This is the comprehension. Before we get into anything else, I know it's super, super late. Well, we'll take our bio break, but before we do that, let's do an inspiration roll really quick, just in case anything happens and you want to use it. So everyone roll I was going to say a D25. A D20. Everyone roll a D20.
That's what I roll all of my rolls on. Yeah.
He's got that special D20.
Dakos, what did you roll?
Magnus
Inspiration?
Burnside 20.
I'm sorry. I'm scrolling up. I put it in chat earlier, and I just don't
I'm
want to.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
You rolled
it's
a
more that
16.
I don't want.
So 5. So
I don't know why I remember that you rolled a 16, but
you rolled.
Thank you. 16.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Carly.
yeah,
Wow.
I don't know why I remembered that. Sorry.
So
Numbers stick in my head.
5 for Yavani, 3 for Lev, and what was yours, Zenith?
7.
7.
Oh my lord!
And-
Drexel rolled a 4, so we had 3, 4, 5.
And what was yours
Wow.
again? Yours was 16, Dakos. You were 1 off. It was a 15. So you have
Ooh,
inspiration to
be.
use if you want to.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we'll take a quick 10-minute bio break here. Sorry, it's a little bit late. We're a little bit late getting started, but we will see you when we get back. Stay tuned. All right, turning on the be right back right now.
Steph, are you keeping audio hot? Just
I can mute it if you want me
ingrain
to.
that? No. Audio hot's fine. I just since
The audio is hot
new
because
the channel.
we are.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured that out last time, but thankfully I'm pretty good at not
Nice.
saying anything.
Awesome. Living in the material world. I'm a material girl. With an ice cream sandwich.
I'm so jealous.
Well, I don't think it's a very good ice cream sandwich. In case that helps offset.
That helps a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad it's crummy.
How bad is a bad ice cream? It's still pretty good, I think.
As far as hitting what I needed to hit, it's gonna be just fine.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's better than I hope it's better than what you think it is.
Well, thank you, Steph. That's very sweet.
You hit what you need to hit, Dacos. You hit what you need to hit.
Hit it.
Carly has left the building.
Mm-hmm. They look comfy though.
It's cracking my back.
Oh wow, good.
I'm made of Rice Krispie treats. My bones are
No, no.
Rice Krispies.
Snap, crackle, pop. Please let me know too if at any point Dacos is too sassy or assholey or anything like that. Like I like playing him like, sort of like this, but never at the cost of creating any sort of negative environment. Like I want to be in tune with the party. So
Sure.
That's for anyone. Not Steph. Steph doesn't have anything. Just kidding. Steph very much included. But if any of y'all are like, can you reel Dacos in a bit? Let me know.
That's it.
That sounded so threatening.
But if it's not even more threatening. It's not even more threatening if I said it like this.
Like a 90s child star.
Well,
yeah.
Oh my
That's my nightmares for tonight. Thank you.
Don't make me use my.
I need to utilize that more and be like, stop it!
You need to do that.
It
TikTok.
doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot to entertain me.
It's not the vibe.
Oh, this makes me look like I have a whole like a whole center, like a tech
Are you
center.
hacking the mainframe?
Basically Barbara Gordon right now.
I'm hacking the
Excellent.
mainframe.
The greatest detective alive.
Mm-hmm. All right. I know that Ed said he might be a little bit later, but I love how you can see me back there, but whatever. Listen, it's fine. We'll just close that.
No, keep it up and. Right here.
The call's still going. It's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't shut the computer completely down. No, that already happened. Yeah, something like I knocked with my tablet. I knocked the thing out of it. And so it turned that off and disconnected that, but it froze up everything else.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I could still hear y'all, but on the call, but it was nothing was working.
Oh, we got Drawing Dan tomorrow? Yes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Okay.
Can't wait.
All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring us back since Ed said he might be a little bit late.
Okay.
So, all right. So,
Understood.
starting back in 5, 4,
5.
3, 2, 1.
We start with different numbers. We're each time it's not. That's not gonna help us. That.
So I'm back in 1, 2, 3.
Oh, she's counting up. She's.
Son, ne, ichi. Okay.
Nice.
We're back. Welcome. We're glad to be here. All right. So, y'all were on your way. You just dropped off Ume to their destination. Well, where they're going back to their parents' house. And your boatwoman is taking you over to the district where the where the inn is. Give me a couple
Her
seconds just
name
to
is
pull up.
Latora.
Name is Latora. Yes.
Her name is Trixie.
Yes.
Nice.
No,
Yes.
that's the cat's name.
First mate. Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
important one.
Yeah, so let me just try to figure out where you, because so you are gonna be about right there. Yeah, so you still have you still have a little bit to go, because she'll have to like take you down here and down there. So yeah. Yeah, so she'll be like, it'll still be about, 15 to 20 minutes, so make yourselves comfortable, feel free to talk about whatever, and just don't mind Trixie. Actually, she's the most important one on this boat, so pay heed.
Obviously.
And then she'll just kind of turn around, just kind of wink and smile at you all, like, just to show you that it's a joke.
Yava is not getting the joke.
Yeah, I'm with Yava. No. I'm sketching I'm gonna, during this super boring boat ride for Dakos. Anyway.
Super boring? You pass all
Well, at
sorts
this
of
point,
things.
Dakos is bored. It went from exciting to like just putting around, and she's rowing us all, so he's impressed with that. But he's sketching out the city,
Okay.
a mapping it out.
Okay.
for-
Good,
for
good,
transfer
great.
stuff.
Let me make a note of that. Let me see, just let me add a section here. Notes. Session
Yeah,
2.
your boat ride story is amazing. This is just Dakos getting
Oh no, I
bored
know,
after
I
the
know.
excitement.
I understand. This isn't a Dan thing, it's a Dakos
Just to
thing.
clarify, yeah.
Dan doesn't want to listen to what I'm saying. Alright, so Dakos is sketching out a map of the city as they see it. Okay. Alrighty. So so just to give you kind of a rundown of what you're seeing. So she'll have to take you down like this main canal, kind of make a right, down another main canal, take you kind of a little bit around a couple of sections of the circle, until you'll get to where that she'll be dropping you off. During that time, you'll be passing, of course, several buildings, on the canals. Like, this place seems to be pretty packed. Like a sardine can. Like, there are things everywhere. There are little, like, moments where you can see, like, a little bit of greenery. In fact, close to where you get dropped off, you'll see, like, there's this whole section of just trees and greenery there. You'll go right through kind of a canal that's about 4 times the width of the canal that you're currently on, which seems to be going straight to, from the farms straight to the palace. You'll be passing a kind of like a little headquarters on the corner that says here to their headquarters. And you'll see a bunch of little boats kind of sitting out there along with some boat people that seem to be kind of either pulling in or leaving. You will be passing, you'll be actually going right along where the train is. So I'm sure that the train will pass you at some point. The train this canal that you kind of turn onto, that's going around the city, not towards, the middle of it, going around. That seems to be on one side, you have the train elevated a bit. And you will see to where there are a couple of canals that it goes over that it will actually go under. And it seems like it just kind of like goes into this tunnel that seems to kind of block out the rest of the water. There are little stations. You actually pass one of the train stations about halfway through your journey to where she'll drop you off for the inn. And also, what is this? You'll pass quite a few little shops, a restaurant. As you pass by that larger canal, you'll see where they're still kind of clearing away for, it looks like some more damage from falling debris from before. And yeah. And you'll get there, it's about 20 minutes. So it seems like she knows her route. Everyone make, well, let's see. Let me just ask what everyone's passive perception is again. I think you told me last week, but I don't remember. unless you think that your character would be actively looking around, like Dakos, maybe if you're map making, then you can roll a perception check. But if you think that they'll be busy with other things, then you can just go off your passive perception. Dakos, what did you roll, or what's your passive?
+6, 21.
Okay. Yavani, what was your roll, or what's your passive perception?
18.
Okay. And Zenith, what was your roll or passive perception? Whichever one.
15.
Okay. And Drexlin. Too many D's.
Can there be though?
Drexlin, what did you roll, or what's your passive?
Passive is 11.
Okay. If you want to
And-
roll if you
Okay.
want to, no, I'm sorry. So your passive is 11. And what was your question, Drexlin? I'm sorry.
I guess it goes along with this a little bit. Hold on. So it sounds like it's not quite Venice, just out of character. It's not quite Venice, but like, what's the density of the canals? Is it like, it's not every street, obviously. Would it be fair to say like every district is separated by the canals, or?
You'd be able to tell, Drexlin, that every district is separated by larger canals. There are smaller canals that move through, but you would also notice that there are also walkways as well, like
That's what I was
in
wondering,
between.
yeah.
So it's kind of a mix when you get in these sections. And I'll start once y'all visit a couple of places, I'll probably, or if you get a map before then, I'll give you a map so you can have like a better idea. But yeah, so you have these bigger canals and you have smaller canals that move through, kind of in a combination with walkways here and there as well. So there seem to be like walkways kind of around each section. So you can move freely walking in each section, but to get from one section to another, you would need to take a boat or take the train.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the train just
Understood.
seems to kind of run around in a circle as far as you can tell, so. Okay.
I'm doing a bird's eye view map of the city, but I'm also like, once we go past whichever wards we're going by, I'm just doing a sketch of like what
Wow.
I'm seeing.
What good technique, Dan.
Oh yeah, drawing in, paying
Mhm.
off. Yeah, yeah.
I loved if you would either if you
13.
think that Lev would be okay. Did you roll
No, passive.
a passive? Okay. So passive perception, yeah, that 13. Yeah, so I guess anyone with either with whatever. Sorry, I had the conversation with Drexlin, and so if you rolled or if you're passive, whichever one you chose to go with, is a 15 or above, you would notice that, or I'd say a 14 or above, you would notice that you are definitely getting looks from people walking the streets. They'll kind of, it's kind of one of those things where like you'll see them, because there are a couple of times where she'll have to stop the boat to kind of let other boats pass, because the waterways, if I hadn't said, are pretty congested, especially in these larger ones, and so, she'll have to like let people pass. There are a couple of boats actually kind of going down that main waterway that she'll have to stop probably like a couple minutes for. And so you would kind of notice that anyone with a 14 or higher, that people kind of like on the town part, not in the canal, in the boats, or even in the boats too, would kind of do a double take almost. Like they'll look at you and then be like kind of look at each other. So they're definitely noticing you. Yeah, you'll get to the market section. She will pull up to the market, and I would say she'd probably be able to take you kind of in a bit, but she'll stop there, kind of pull off of this main canal, and you'll see several shops and shoppers kind of up on the sidewalk across the canal. You'll see not as many shops, but you would actually see a little bit of a taller building kind of peeking out a bit. but she'll stop there and be like, oh, I can let you off here if you want to, walk through the shops, or I can take you a bit more in and almost get you just a building away from the inn that you want to go to.
Is it fairly straightforward direction-wise to get to the tavern from here?
Yeah. If you just take that route right there and just go straight down, and you'll see a sign for it to your left, about 4 or 5 buildings down. And you can always ask someone, or I can take you there. It's not hidden, so, and this isn't a, it's a good sized block, but if you walk for a bit, you eventually find it if you don't follow that direction.
I'm pretty good at finding my way around. I think we'll be all right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take the gold. 1 gold, just as a whole.
For the awkward pause, and then Drexen will reach and pay the
Okay.
gold. And I noticed as we were coming in, another ferry company with my question being, is this your only boat, or do you have, like the other companies have more than one boat?
Oh, Zephyr? Oh yeah, Zephyr has several boats.
So Zephyr is a person.
Zephyr's the company.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, there might be about 20 of us boatmen, maybe more. I can't keep too much track, but the city's big. There's always need of getting from one place to another, and usually people will just, want to pay a boat than pay for a boating license. So.
All right, and Drexen will give her, them, I should say, 3 gold.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sure that if you're hanging around the city any more than a couple of days, I'm sure I'll see you again. If you use if you use Zephyr. If you use here to there, I can't help you. But if you use Zephyr, I'll see you again, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Do you mind if we reach out if we need a lift somewhere?
I don't really have a way for you to contact me directly, unfortunately.
I might.
Oh, sure. If you want to try something like that, sure, you have my permission. Yeah, and I'll see what I can do. Sometimes I might be busy with other customers, but and if I'm all the way on the other side of town, sometimes that poses a problem as well. But
is there surge pricing?
only on holidays and big events. Yeah. Good question though. You boatman? Do you do boats yourself back in the material plane?
Yeah, back in the material plane, I think our boat people actually use there's a medallion system. I'm not too certain. I don't boat myself.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we had a kind of a public rating system here, and we kind of ixnayed that.
Too many bad reviews.
The thing is that, again, it's kind of, for as big of a city as it is, it's kind of insular. So you would have a lot of people rating other people badly for things that they did before that had nothing to do with their boating business, if you know what I mean. So they would rate you badly, put a bad rating on there, then that's on your permanent record, all because you slept with their boyfriend and you didn't know. That's just an example.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Sorry. Sometimes when I think about the rating system, it just gets me very worked up because a friend went through that situation.
I see.
So, it's been great. Have a good time. And if you want to try to mentally reach hoobity doobity to me, you can do that. Okay. All right. See you later. And just as she's about ready to push off, someone else will be like, and we'll get her services to boat them out somewhere. And you'll hear the distant sound of a train whistle as it passes by again. All right. You are surrounded on this side of the canal by several shops. You also have, it looks like a cute little, there's a couple of restaurants. You will notice about halfway into this section that there seems to be some rebuilding happening on one of the buildings there. Seems to be like there was some damage, and there's a guard there kind of standing watch as some builders kind of are working on it. There are several people around. I'll go ahead and say that since you're probably already looking out for it, that anyone with that 14 or above perception before would notice that you're still kind of getting those looks. People passing you, kind of double taking, but not really like sneering at you or anything. They're not treating you with any unkindness. They're just definitely noticing you. What do you want to do?
Yes. Anything that we need to buy right now, or should we just make sure we get rooms for the night?
That was a very nice cat.
It was. Had a certain command to it.
Well, I don't know. Seeing as from what I can tell, I don't get many visitors around here, so I don't think it's going to be an issue getting a room at the tavern. Maybe we just look around, see what we can see.
All right.
Perhaps there's a map or a book of history, or perhaps a children's book of local folklore. Something that would be new to us.
And generally things that would be of interest to the Historical Society.
All right. So I guess this is the time that it would be like, is there any kind of particular shop that you're looking for? You pass by, a couple of magic shops. You'll see again like a restaurant. Do I have that one? Let me see if I have that one set out here. Give me 1 second. Haven Market District, Outer Ring, Southwest. Okay, so you see one restaurant, tavern type place called the Herald. And you also see another place called the Raven. And these both look like taverns / kind of restaurants. One will, the Raven will advertise that they have a varied coffee selection. And then the Herald will advertise that they serve breakfast all day. I can see Dako sigh inwardly.
We found the Denny's.
Yeah, and the Cracker Barrel. Yeah. The Starbucks, yeah. Oh, delightful selections that must appeal to people. Do we want to eat? Do we want to eat, or do we want to? It's not about eating, is it? We can mingle, as Yava suggested. Learn a little from the locals, perhaps. Was there a bookstore? As someone asked earlier. Did any of you ask?
If you
I'll
want to
take
make
a look around.
Dickus, so you're looking for a bookstore particularly?
Yeah, just to see, any shop that I think might have like a library or
Okay.
An actual shop that was books.
Okay. Make a perception check, please.
So 6, 15.
Okay. Yeah, you see, now you will see that there are, you have these kind of cute little, like, alleys that have these other little shop fronts, stone, stone walkways. There's, stone flooring on these, on these parts of the city. The buildings, I will say, I didn't say this before, but the shops and the buildings have a very kind of, what we as players would consider a very kind of Victorian feel to them. A lot of darkened metal, brick, stonework. They have like paintings on the windows, some interesting designs kind of carved into the stonework as well. And they have kind of like these dark metal what seems like maybe gaslit lamps going along here and there, as well as like on the buildings as well. There's also a lot of like interesting glass work with these buildings. You'll see that like you'll have a lot of them are several like 3 stories high, and you'll see a lot of like window for the shops on the bottom and the restaurants on the bottom. But then above that, you'll see a lot of glass work that almost looks like people live above these shops. But those seem like maybe possibly more fancier apartments. For your search, what I was getting to is that you would have seen kind of bulletin boards kind of advertising the Royal Library, Dakos. Find any book imaginable, handpicked by, Miss Amikir, Queen Amikir herself. But you would find, let me see here. Yeah, you would find a small bookshop in this area. They seem to have like a little cart outside. If you walk inside, there's a couple of stores with kind of an open balcony with different books around. And you'll see, of course, like a person kind of manning the shop as well.
Bookstore over there. I can go by myself, but I'd love to know where to meet up after.
Yvonne walks off without
Nice. That's my
sense for the bookstore without even like talking to people or looking.
I'll go with Yvonne then. Meet you all back at the tavern. The inn.
Give it what, 2-3 hours max?
Yeah, I
Before we
imagine
start
it's
getting worried?
like mid-afternoon, like probably like 2 or 3 right now.
There's 2 hours. I can't speak for Yvonne, but I'll be done, and I'll share the time frame with Yvonne. 2 hours, I imagine.
All right.
Sounds
It
good.
doesn't look that large. All right. Well, let's see all that. And I'll skip off after Yvonne.
Okay. Going into the bookstore. Sorry, I was making notes myself. So, Lev, what are you up to?
Did you say there were some magic stores?
Yeah, you would have passed probably in this area, probably like 3 different magic stores, I'm sure.
Sure. Yeah, Lev will just peek around looking for something of maybe cultural significance in one of these magic shops. Maybe something that we can send back.
Okay, all right. Make an investigation check for me, please.
That's a 13.
Okay. Yeah, you would come across this one store called Cheezer's Magic Emporium. You walk in, and it seems to be the most you thought that coming into, like, stepping off the boat, that you had seen some more kind of a little bit more quaint, specific magic shops. This one, once you started looking for them again, however, you only found like this kind of more commercialized one. It's a lot brighter, a little bit bigger, has these windows in the front that kind of illuminate out onto the street. it's not getting evening time yet, but it's getting close, and so you can see kind of that illumination on the sidewalk. As you even just look inside the window, it seems that they just have a variety of different magic items. But they also would have this kind of small section that's like, has a sign that says Amicare. And it looks like it has a bunch of like little trinkets and things.
Yeah, that really piques Love's interest, and I'll take a closer look at that section.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you would find snow globes with the city in it. You would also find what looked like little like ornaments, gold, that seem to kind of be cut to where they look 3D of the city. Has that circular shape. And you can see on these, I would say, that like, because you'll see a couple of prints as well that seems to be handmade here in the city. That kind of, the kind of main structure of the city, that it has those kind of like rings inside of a ring inside of a ring. And you'll also see, specific items like a bag that has embroidered into it the Royal Library, and also embroidered onto it the palace. And as far as something, they seem to be mostly trinkets. You would find a music box that they sell, that it has a little sign, like where they have about 4 of these together, that says, wind up this music box and you'll find your true love, just like Miss Amicare found hers.
Mm-hmm.
Love will mumble to himself, that seems to have gone very well. Excuse me, how much for one of these music boxes?
They're at the counter, be like a half orc, I mean. Kind of come over there and put down the glasses. And, yes. You read the little sign, correct? That if you play the music box, you shall find your true love.
Exciting.
Wait.
What's the return policy?
You're a funny one. That's funny. If it's broken, I would after you buy it, so a day.
Wow, kind of stingy on that. Okay. How much for the boxes?
Oh, the box is 5 gold.
5 gold. You can tell that I'm just visiting. Can you cut me a break here? Maybe 4? What could you do? 4 gold?
I'm already cutting you a break. They're usually 8.
All right. You drive a hard bargain, but here's 5 gold, and then Level will part with the money.
Yeah, I'll take it up to the counter. Are you still looking, or are you checking out now?
No, I'm checking out.
Okay. So I'll put that in a bag for you. Yeah, I'll leave you there for a second. Yvonne, what are you up to? Oh, no, you went into the bookshop, correct? Right? Did Giovanni go in the bookshop? Okay. Zenith, what are you up to?
Zenith is just kind of walking around this district, just trying to get a kind of a lay of the land. Not really trying to sneak, but not trying to blend in, because she's already fully aware that she sticks out like a sore thumb, as we've been told. So just trying to kind of look a bit more normal.
Okay.
She might. We were told there were like alleys and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She might kind of like tap in, or like not tap in, like slip into an alley and kind of make herself look human. Like give herself like just a brown hair, tan skin, just
okay,
human.
Okay.
And then
you
come back out.
have a disguise kit, correct?
I have disguise self.
Okay. Yeah, that's
But
fine.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you do the best that you can with that. I would say that, you slip into an alley, kind of find like an area that is not populated, and disguise yourself. And yeah, you exit back out, and you can immediately feel, Zenith, that people are no longer looking at you. You're just,
Cool. Still the same clothes and
Okay.
everything, but
okay.
just human appearance.
All right. Oh, okay. I just saw your message.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Yes, you're definitely able to just kind of blend right in. Especially with your background, like, yeah. Okay. Drexlin, what are you up to?
He's kind of conflicted. He wants to do. He's gonna look for an antique shop.
Okay, make an investigation check then, or in perception. Yeah, since you're looking for a specific investigation, I mean, a certain specific shop, you do an investigation check.
Okay. 14.
Okay, yeah. You do come across a antique shop, Drexlin. You go inside. Are you going inside?
Sure.
Okay. They don't really have anything outside. There's a window there, but it seems a little dirty. It's hard to see through. You get inside, and if you're just kind of perusing what's there, make a perception check for me, separate of your investigation, please.
Okay. I was just going to say he's very carefully perusing because considering his size, he is literally the bull in the china shop.
This is true. Yeah, I would say with your size, Drexlin, you are finding it a little claustrophobic, like especially getting through like some of these alleys and stuff.
Yeah, he's too. He rolled a 2. He's way too.
Okay, yeah, you're so
concerned
focused
with knocking
on
something over. Yeah.
Yeah, you're so focused. I would say that you can tell the interesting thing. I'll give you this. The interesting thing that you can tell is that the antiques here looks like an antique shop back home. It looks like an antique shop like back on the material plane.
Okay.
You're trying to kind of like let me see. You kind of almost bump into a couple people as you're trying to pass them. I would say that you probably you've seen probably a couple of different, like, maybe, what is the eagle race called? That's,
Ooh.
I'm trying to think. But anyways, you would have seen a couple kind of like non-humanoid types kind of going around, like in the city itself so far, but not a lot of them. So that definitely helps you stick out a little bit more. Yeah. Anything else for Drexlin?
If he, he would probably ask the shopkeep, or strike up a conversation with the shopkeeper about, basically ask the question. It seems like these are antiques that I can see from where I've come from, and were all these brought by the people who came here? So there's nothing really native to here, is there?
Well, he's kind of an older human, female seeming. You'd be correct. Yes, everything here has been mostly brought in by families that moved here that they no longer want. So these aren't, because this demi-plane itself is only, you do look unfamiliar, but it's only 10 years old, of course, so not much time to get antiques native to this plane. So yes, you'd be correct. Are you familiar with the material plane?
Yes, I am from Osbergen.
Yes, I know it well. I grew up in Invicta, which is just south, I believe, of Osbergen. I've been over there a couple of times. Came here with my family.
Oh.
How are you finding the city?
Fairly well. I can, understand people's apprehension. I've come to understand you don't get many visitors here.
Sir, I haven't heard anyone refer to themselves as a visitor since moving here.
Really?
Yes.
That's quite interesting.
We keep ourselves closed off. The way I understand, unless you know of this plane, you can't really travel here by certain means. So it is protected.
Understood. Doing a little, artifact hunting and things of historical significance. You wouldn't have anything like that, would you?
Let me see here. We do have some necklaces, but nothing of historical significance
Pity.
that I know of. We have a couple of things that were owned by some regents and rulers in Osbergen, I believe, and Victa, but nothing beyond that. Are you looking for something in particular?
Not at the moment, per se. Just
Alright.
always on the lookout, so to speak.
Well, if you ever find that you want to find something and would like to make a profit off of it, please. And she'll kind of turn and kind of, reach over her desk and get a little card. And it says on it, Magda's Antiques, kind of written in this gold lettering. Be sure to stop by.
Thank you. I quite appreciate our conversation.
Of course.
Oh, by the way,
glad to have you.
my name was Drexler.
Oh, well, I am Magda. So,
Pleasure to meet you.
yes, a pleasure to meet you as well. If you ever need any antiques, please stop by. Or
Will
if you
do.
come across that historical one that you're looking for.
I'm sure I'll keep you in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Drexlin. I love the colors, by the way.
Thank you.
Just please be in. She'll kind of cringe as you almost knock into something on your way out. Just careful. Okay. Bye.
Trying.
Thank you.
All right. I'll just, putter around, eventually head toward the tavern.
Okay.
See if I can, see anybody else walking about, and then hook up with them.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have you roll a perception check here. If you want to go ahead and roll it, and I'll get your number in a bit.
Okay.
Well, back to you. You were in the magic shop. Actually, you know what? Let's go over to Dakos and Yvonne into the
I sent you a
bookstore.
quick text if you can check. Sorry.
I
just in case
I
it's relative
glanced
to
at it,
this.
and I'm pretty sure the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, the two of you enter into this bookshop, and as I said, it's not, you have two stories. There's a little balcony area with a small little staircase, walled staircase that spirals and goes up to that second story. There seem to be a couple of shelves deep back there. First floor seems to be, you have a couple of aisles on one side, but the books kind of go pretty high up, and there are little ladders and step stools here and there. It seems to be a very cozy bookshop. You have a, looks like a young elven woman, seemingly, standing behind the desk with these beautiful green eyes and this kind of short, tufted brown hair. Hi, welcome to the bookstore. I'm not being facetious. It is called the bookstore. So welcome. Glad to have you. I just ask if you have any open like drinks, coffee, that you keep them outside before coming
No,
in.
thank you. No, thank you.
Okay. If there's anything I can help you find, just let me know. I can try my best.
What's your favorite book here?
Oh, my favorite book is a book of fairy tales from the Feywild. Well, that's what they say. The person who brought it in said it was from the Feywild. I mean, it might not have been, but the tales are about the Feywild.
Can you show it to me?
Sure. She's gonna kind of look at you, Dakos.
I'll probably just be entering at this point.
Okay.
Ching, ching.
Wow,
Of course.
Dagos.
Oh,
way to steal my thunder.
Hi.
Okay.
I love the crown.
Thank you.
Yes. Welcome to the bookstore. That is our name. A lot of people question if they haven't been in here before. I'm not just
Clever.
being secretive. If there's anything you need to find, just let me know. I'm going to help find a fairy tale book for the
I don't want to
Feywild
interrupt.
for Giovanni.
Oh, is that so?
Yes. Would you like to see it as well?
Oh, I'd love to. If that's all right with you, Giovanni, I'm terribly sorry to cause a distraction here. Oh, sorry, you muted. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dagos. That's fine.
Oh.
As he peruses the books.
Ooh.
Yeah, so she'll take you both over to, actually it's upstairs. It's my own kind of, I'll show you. And so she'll take you up the stairs. It's kind of this winding wooden staircase. And it's in kind of like the second shelf back. And you can see that there's this little like corner kind of made out up there, kind of to the side of the second shelf and kind of a slightly dirty window, but you can still see out of it, that has little cushions and comforter and just kind of like almost like a little like self-made nook up here. Okay, well, don't tell anyone you've seen this, and she'll kind of take it out of like a hiding space behind the shelf. Technically, it still belongs to the bookstore. Again, the name. And she'll kind of, kind of open it up and kind of give it to you, Giovanni. Yeah, it's a very beautifully illustrated book. It has gold lettering on like the main title pages in between the different stories. Gold lettering on the front. It seems to be very well taken care of and very precious.
Do I recognize the title or the book at all?
Make a roll for that, and you can roll. I'm going to give you either intelligence or wisdom, or
Okay.
I guess you could do history too. But if you're trying to get it, like if you've
Whatever you
heard
want,
of it,
boss.
so you can do history. Go ahead and do history.
11.
Okay. Because I'll say that, like, you don't really, I mean, it's just, like, the title's very generic. It's, like, Tales from the Feywild. But it does look like, you know, you've seen books before. I'll go ahead and give in your background. Like, yeah, I know you're not a do you I'm getting your characters mixed up, I think. Do you specialize in history? Like, do you are you proficient in history with this character?
I am proficient in history, but I'll send you a quick direct message.
Well, I know your history. I know.
Okay.
Okay, I know your backstory. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you
It's fine if I don't know it too.
it's more that you can definitely tell that this is an old book. Like, this is definitely it definitely has a lot of age to it, and it could be from the Feywild, like she said, but
Okay.
it's
But
not
not like
something
a
that
common-
it's not something that jumps out at you, right?
I might just read beside you, Yvonne, if that's all right. Giving you plenty of room to be comfortable, of course.
Yvonne
just tell me.
will happily share the book, and
Lovely.
it is treating it with a definite level of reverence.
Oh, nice.
Glad to see that you like it. This one right here is particularly my favorite, and she'll kind of turn to it, you know, and it's actually looking over his shoulder. Dakos is actually a story about an archfey.
Okay. I guess I'm just looking to see if there's any truth to any of these. If they're like stories that, you know, are actual Fae stories, if I know that. And if there's any tales in here of anything I might be familiar with.
Yeah, I would say if you're wanting to go off of your roll before, if you want to make a new one, but going off of your roll before, you would be able to, yeah, I mean, kind of glancing through the words, they seem kind of familiar. But it's been a while, probably since you've looked at a book like this.
Okay. Let's take note.
Yeah.
Nod.
Okay. Is there anything else? Do you want some time with the book, or I should probably go, and you'll hear like a dingling of the bell on the front door. If you need me, I will be downstairs, okay? But feel free to look. Feel free to sit if you want to, and I'll be back. And she'll kind of like scamper down the steps, and you'll hear her kind of like, "Oh, can I help you?"
Yaba will probably spend a good 10 minutes read this specific story if he can, and generally peruse the others before he kind of looks around for anything else. So I don't know if that's going to hold Dakos' attention that long, but if so, then we'll I guess kind of look over the whole book together. But after about 10 minutes, Yaba's not going to read the whole book in one sitting. So
Oh, okay. I'll pick up if you are moving on to the next thing. I'll finish reading this if you don't mind.
Could both of you make a perception roll for me, please, as you're looking through this book?
Okay.
22.
13.
Okay. Yvonne, you would notice that inside the front of the back cover, it says, to little Lyra. To, like, it's to someone, to little Lyra. Lyra. And you'll see some doodles on that page as well. that looks to be done by a child. Little like hearts, a sun. Yeah, clouds.
Yavo will close the book reverently and offer it to Dagos if Dagos wants to continue. And then, actually, Yavo before Yavo goes away, he'll try and sit in the most cozy part of the chair and see if that dirty window gives them any kind of view of the sky, because that's just what Yavo would do. And then Yavo will probably actually go downstairs to see if the bookseller is available for a conversation.
Yeah, she's, let me see. Yeah, you have to wait about 10 minutes, Yavani, but if you're willing to wait, she'll eventually finish up with the customer and check them out. Did you find anything else?
I feel like I've barely started. I have to say I enjoyed that story too. I thank you so much for the recommendation.
Of course.
Now you said that book it belongs to the store. It's not your book personally. It's just your
No,
favorite.
I just like to read it, but I've read it so many times that I kind of know them by heart. So if you want to buy it, I would sell it to you. It is a bit of an antique, though.
Yeah.
So it would be about 25 gold for it.
I understand. It would seem almost ashamed to deny it the next person who came along from reading it as well.
Oh, well, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and plus, if I buy it, you won't be able to read it again.
But, you know, I have so many of this story. I read it so many times that it wouldn't be a problem at all. But if that's what you feel, I'm not going to argue against it, of course, but...
Are there books like that, fairy tales, but that they come from Amakir? Does Amakir have its own fairy tales and stories and histories?
I don't think anyone's written anything like that before. Not here. Or at least if they have, they don't have it for sale here in the shop. Most of the books that we have come from not this plane, but other planes where other people came from, and have sold to us or we brought with us. There was one, in fact, the first owner of the shop brought crates and crates of books with him. Had to pretty much do a circle all by himself just to get here. He had so many books.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think so. Although I've thought about writing a few down that I know of, a few stories, about the woods and about the rulers and just other things, that I think about, and what's underneath the water in the canals and what lies beyond the wall.
Yvonne's eyes seem to grow bigger as the booksellers. That sounds amazing. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. I didn't ask. I'm so terribly sorry. I'm sometimes not good at this. Might I ask your name, or is that too forward?
No, it's completely fine. My name is Elashor. Elashor Iliowin. And I'll put that in chat for y'all.
Well, Elashor, I have to say, I would, if you wrote those stories down someday and I came back to this bookstore, I would read those stories and obviously buy them, because that's a service of value. I wasn't going to ask, but I guess I'll ask. do you have any books about the stars or the night sky, or perhaps any tales or books of tales about the night sky? That's kind of my favorite subject, but I would understand if you don't have any.
Can I? Yeah, I mean, we have books about. So, here's the interesting thing, Yvonne. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I've been told, and I've done my own comparisons, that the night sky here is a lot like the night sky in the material plane. Almost exactly. Isn't that interesting?
From the look on Yvonne's face, that is the most interesting thing you could possibly have said to me. Yes.
You know, I mean, so it's known that that this demiplane was a gift to the queen. So
Yes.
I would assume that whoever created the demiplane created the stars to be the same as well.
I guess that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You would put what you already knew.
But there are differences, very small ones. There are individual stars that are not there in the material plane, just here and there, and they're different colors. What does it mean?
That's indeed. What does it mean? It has to mean something. I don't know if it's important, but
I've been
it has to
watching
mean
them
something.
and charting them, and the other stars, you know, they move, right?
Of course, yes.
These don't move. They stay in the same place all the time. No matter the season, no matter the time of year, they're there in the same place.
Giovanni is actually speechless and just enthralled by this information.
So listen, you know, I don't know. Do you so you seem interested in stars. So, you know, I'm here a lot, but if you, in your travels, if you ever hear why, be sure to let me know.
I'll
And
tell you what.
the next time I see you, will hopefully have some stories written down.
I'll tell you what. I will write down the reason if I find it. You write down your stories, and perhaps we'll do a trade.
Perfect. And she'll stick out a hand.
Yvonne will shake her hand.
Oh, so excited. Okay. And you'll hear another ding. Oh, I have to get to customers, but if you find anything, just let me know, okay?
Yvonne nods a little shyly and runs off to look at more books.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to do?
No, thank you. Just
Okay.
looking through this book. Mhm.
All right. Lab, on your way out, are you looking for anything else in this in that magic shop besides anything plane specific or?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. All right. You just saw a bunch of trinkets in this one. Maybe in another one you'll be able to find something a little bit more special. But he would, the sales clerk would, before giving you the box, would kind of wrap it in like a cloth and put it in a bag for you. Very fancy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know any stories about the queen, by the way?
What kind of stories are you wanting?
What's something that strikes you most about the queen?
Her strength. She was a good ruler.
Was or?
Well, is. But it was questionable when we first moved here if she could handle the responsibility. She was quite young. but she proved a lot of people wrong. And things have been quiet ever since.
Interesting. Quite nice sometimes. What made you decide?
So decide to move here? Is that what you said, Ed?
Hmm? Yeah.
Oh, the opportunity? Seems like an interesting proposition, wouldn't you say? Going to a newly created plane.
Interesting indeed. Well, thanks for your time. Appreciate the wrapping, and maybe I'll stop back later in our trip here.
Sounds good. Maybe the owner will be here when you stop by next.
Oh, who's the owner?
Oh, Cheeser himself.
Ooh, okay. Thank you.
Quite different from me. Have a good day.
Likewise.
Was there anything else that you were wanting to do, Zenith?
Nothing specific, really. Just kind of scouting as best I can.
All right. Make a perception check for me, please.
That's a 10.
Okay. Yeah, you hear people kind of talking about the shops and some sales going on, and well, not much beyond that. It is starting to get closer to evening time, so the sun is starting to set. Drexlin, anything else for you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, I will say that as all of you kind of head out and kind of see each other, I won't make you roll anything. You'll see each other there in that kind of market area that you were mostly shopping in. You will suddenly hear what sounds like a bear roar. And as you look around and look down the street, you'll see a bear, a huge bear, about 3 times the size of a bear that you usually see elsewhere, stealing a fish from a stall. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Must be normal. On we go. Another day under the dome.
Another day under the dome. All right, friends. Thank you so much, players, for being so patient with all the issues tonight.
Thank you, Steph, for
yeah,
fun session.
of course. Hopefully you all had a good time. Thank you, viewers. I know that I heard some dings here and there, so thank you so much for being here. Do we have any raids, Dan?
We did.
Okay.
We just had Diesel Shot come in. I don't know. Before that, we'll have to check.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks like
Daniel Land subscribed.
Thank you so much for the raid, Diesel Shot. We greatly appreciate you. Thank you. We have a lot of, to go over our schedule really quick, we have a lot of D&D here on the channel. Let me throw that up. Yeah, so tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern time, we'll have Drawing Dan, where I'm teaching Dan how to draw. And then right after that, we'll have Paint by Minis, where Christy's teaching me how to paint minis. So there's a lot of learning going on tomorrow. And then on Friday, we have Mud Art with Steph at 4 p.m. Eastern time. In Extremis on the weekend on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday, we have Mad Games at dusk. Obsidian Scar in the evening. So another D&D campaign, as well as in Extremis, another D&D 5e campaign as well. So Pirates in the Sky. Yeah, and real quick, we have to update the schedule here. But Tower of Dreams on Saturday, I'll go ahead and say. I put it in the announcement in the channel the other day, but unfortunately it's on been put on an indefinite hold due to the DM Andrew having to, do a few life things. So it happens. So yeah, we're putting that one on hold. And also Learning Blender with Steph is being dropped just because of my schedule. So, but I'm sure that we'll find something else to put in its place soon. Put it in its place. But again,
Who do
thank
you
you.
think you are?
Who do you think you are? Again, thank you so much, players. Thank you so much, viewers. Dan, do we have someone that we're raiding over to?
Yeah, we're heading over to our friends over at Blackwater D&D.
All right, awesome. Thank y'all again. Give a caw in the chat. Y'all have been great. And we'll see you next time on the Penumbra Assembly.
Yay!
Bye.